What's up, folks? I'm back with another reaction, back with some more Duran Duran. And we're actually back with a bit of a special treat, which is to say I'm right at the end of the Medazzaland album, 1997. An absolutely genius and sort of cutting edge, out on an experimental island sort of album. I'm really enjoying it. It's just been a very special experience. But the last tune I have here is the 12th tune and is called Undergoing Treatment. But I've since discovered, and through Izzy's help, I have been able to acquire a bonus track that on some versions of this album comes between So Long Suicide and Undergoing Treatment. So we're going to listen to it in that order, even though that's not actually the version of the album I have. So it's a tune called Ball and Chain. Now, obviously, that is a phrase that is used, at least in some social and domestic settings, to refer to a spouse that is in some sense an anchor, some sense a hindrance to sort of the freedom that one might have had before. And in a way, it's interesting because it implicitly speaks to a change of status or a passage of time and the change of circumstances or conditions. But, again, it may not relate to another person. It could be a behavior type that is like tying one down to a certain type of existence and not letting one perhaps reach other spheres of experience or life status that one could because you're so bound up in whatever it is that you're doing, or perhaps it's some sort of addictive stimulus and you can't get away from the addictive stimulus. So yeah, it could be anything that binds someone down or anchors them. But yeah, I wonder whether it will have more of a personal relation or whether it will be more of like a metaphor for like a concept or some sort of phenomenon as it relates to people or a particular person. But yeah, without much more context, let's get to it. I did want to mention when I looked on Discogs, it says that this track was mastered by Henk Koistra, who is apparently a Dutch mastering and audio technician, so that is of note. But regardless, this is Duran Duran, Ball and Chain from their 1997 album Medazzaland, or at least a bonus track from that album. I wasn't ready for this. Loving the guitar vibes. It's like effects on his vocals, yeah? It's like the sound waves have been corrupted, so we're only getting some of the frequencies. Oh. Obviously the guitar is the main sort of electric centerpiece of the track, but and right as I say that it pops out, right? Like this strain in his voice, and there's a call and response aspect to it. Oh, there's a static, electric sort of. Oh my God. This is edgy. This is hard. Composition grade A+. Big, loud, kind of percussive rhythms. took a blues track and like twisted it through some like psychedelic haze. One track mind. It's like it's kind of like a wavy, yeah, like an electric kind of like wavy melodic layer, but it's almost like atonal. Again, I think that very much fits in with the tone of a lot of albums, sort of, you know, a non-standard, atypical, edgy, like hard, but also with a bit of like elegance to it, like within that sort of grit. Yeah, that was crazy. And as I said, that interlude in particular, but maybe the song overall with the kind of, you know, kind of heavy guitar, it had this feel where it was like a bit bluesy, but like edgy bluesy with a sort of psychedelic twist. So yeah, I really enjoyed that. That was top. And it, again, if you had played me that tune and not told me, like, hey, if you just said, hey, this is a bonus track from one of their albums, I do feel like now I've gotten to the point where I probably could have guessed that correctly. At the very least, I feel like, you know, there would have been other albums I would have been less likely to think that was from, say, Rio. But yeah, I really do feel that fit the flavor of the rest of the album. So again, it's weird that the version I have, which I don't know if mine was like a US release specifically. Let me see if it says like very obviously, because it usually doesn't. No, it is printed in the USA, yeah, so mine is an American release, though I don't know if because again, I looked on Discogs, and there are some other versions on Discogs that have this track between So Long Suicide and Undergoing Treatment. So yeah, maybe I should have just been a little more careful when I got the album to make sure I got the one with it, but again, when I started this sort of deep dive, I didn't realize the variation in albums. Again, I follow some bands that, you know, over the years, you know, like some bands, punk bands I listen to, they've been around like 40 years, and they have done some reissues, so there might be like 3 or 4 different versions of an album, but I don't think it's anything close to what I've encountered with Duran. So yeah, it's been a bit of a learning experience in that regard. But yeah, tell me what you think about that one. I'm sure a lot of you know it well, but maybe some of you haven't heard it, because I know sometimes the bonus tracks, again, you might think you have the whole album, and it's like, wait, there's other tunes that I never heard. So yeah, let me know what you think of that one. Other than that, thank you for listening and watching. I will see you next time.